All right, guys, so we've all done it before. It's what I call the scoop and droop. We start to cast from the top, we scoop the club, and then your ball just kind of droops out of the air. It doesn't really have a lot of power on it. We don't really get a lot of consistency. We feel like we're swinging hard, but we're just not getting anything out of it. Well, in this one, we're going to talk about how to strike those irons really crisp and really solid. It's what I call the turn and burn. So when we're doing the scoop and then our ball droops out of the air, what's happening there is from the top of the swing, we're not rotating our body open. In order to get that good forward shaft lean and compress the ball, get that nice shaft lean forward, take some loft off that face, we've got to rotate our hips open. As our hips and our shoulders start to open up more, now I can really compress that ball and it feels nice and solid on the face. So the opposite of that again is I'm not rotating from the top. I'm having to do all hands and arms. I'm trying to get some speed because my body's not creating speed. I have to do it with all my hands, and then I start to burn speed from the top, scoop at the bottom. That opens up the face, adds loft, and then the ball just kind of floats up in the air. So I got a great little progression for you here. It's going to help you to hit the ball crisp and clean every time. All right, so enough about the wrong way. Let's talk about the right way now. The first thing I want to do is make sure that I get a good turn going back. I have to load up my body in order to get some power. But from there, the very first thing that I want to think of as I start my downswing is going ahead and getting my hips to turn forward. So if I feel like I'm going to kind of twist, jump and twist at the same time, I'm kind of going to push into the ground with my feet to get my body to rotate. The same thing's happening in the golf swing. We're not jumping up in the air, but I'm going to feel like I'm twisting with my body. I may even feel like my knees go ahead and start to face more toward the target. This right knee is going to come forward and toward the ball a little bit. You'll notice in my downswing that right heel starts to lift up as I'm coming into contact. The reason for that is my hips are opening, and the only way to keep those opening is to let that heel lift up. A lot of times I'll see players keep that heel flat on the ground. Now they start their downswing, they can't open the hips very much, and now they have to scoop with the arms again. So again, I'm letting my feet twist, I'm letting my right knee come forward. As I come to contact, that right heel is going to barely start coming off the ground here. My left leg, if I'm focusing on that, I'm pushing out with it. Imagine you're driving a car and you push in a clutch to shift gears. I'm pushing that direction. That's going to turn my left knee out. My left hip is going to open up, and now my hips are coming forward from there. So that's really good. That's allowing me to get in a position to where now from there, as I open up, I can get that forward shaft lean. Let me go ahead and hit one more shot the normal way here, and then I'll talk about what we're going to do with the hands and arms next. There we go. So we saw that first one very short. That next shot there compressed a little bit better, got a lot more distance out of it, was able to even swing a bit faster. So now that we got the body opening up, here's the problem that I find with that. Players try to get their hips and shoulders, everything opening up more, but then the club ends up kind of coming across the ball. The more I open, the more I get that club kind of swinging to the left. If I do that, that's going to get kind of a glancing blow and almost a slice type motion like that. So even though I swung aggressively at the ball, it starts to slice, or even worse than that, I could do the same thing. As my hips and body get more open, that club face is wide open here. Instead of squaring up, it's wide open, and I end up getting that block shot that goes directly to the right. Those really stink. And that's probably what you're finding if you're a player that's not opening very much. As soon as you start to open, here come the slices, here comes the blocks to the right. Well, I got the solution for you. The feeling that you're going to have in the proper swing is actually that I'm swinging kind of 45 degrees to my right. So I'm kind of swinging this way. That's a sensation that I'm having. So my hips are staying square here when I'm doing this demonstration, and my club is swinging this direction. Well, if I bend forward, same thing. Now as my hips open up, that actually is square. So this, without moving the hips, as my hips turn open 45 degrees, that's actually square. That's the first piece. You need that sensation that for a good golf swing, I'm actually swinging this direction. If I think about my hips being forward and I'm swinging this direction, as I open my hips, again, that's that big slice, that's that over the top move. You're gonna really struggle with that. Now the next piece here is gonna be, what do I do with my wrist? Okay, now I'm swinging the right direction, but I'm still blocking it or slicing it out to the right because my club face is just wide open. Well, that's when we're actually gonna turn that wrist down. Take your left hand, and what I want you to do for me is do what's called supination, which would be turning your left hand like you're turning a doorknob to the left, getting that palm facing up. And at the same time, I want you to feel like you're getting what's called flexion, which is turning the palm of your hand back towards your body. So if you rotate and get flexion at the same time, the hand looks like this. And that's what's called covering the golf ball. So as I start to come through the golf swing, if I do that, now I have this bowed wrist. If you look at the loft of my club face, now I'm going to really be de-lofting that club and getting a lot of a compression on the ball because of that. So that's an exaggerated feeling, but that's what's happening. At the same time, you feel like you're kind of throwing or tossing your left hand toward the target or toward the golf ball. That's that covering action as you're coming through there. So the left hand was supinating or turning to the left and flexing where this wrist is bowed. The right hand's just doing the opposite. As it turns to the left also, that's what's called pronation, and then the wrist flexes back, which is called extension. So I'm getting this motion. That's exaggerated. I'm giving you exaggerated feeling here, but that's the feeling that I feel like I'm getting as I'm making the golf swing through contact. And as I put my hand on the club, just with the right hand, you'll see as I rotate open, now look at the club face. It's starting to close down as I'm coming through contact. It's squaring up. And now, even though if I get a lot of forward shaft lean, look how the face is dead square. I can really compress that golf ball. If I don't get those actions and I keep my wrist kind of neutral, as I lean the hand forward, now my wrist is dead flat here. As I lean my hand forward, look at the face, it's wide open. I'm gonna hit it into the woods. I'm gonna hit it out of bounds every single time. So the sensation when we tie all this together is, I'm letting my body open up. I'm swinging to the right. That's the sensation that I feel like I'm swinging to the right, but at the same time, I'm covering that golf ball. I'm letting those wrists turn down on top of it. So what I want you to do here is let's go ahead and make some little mini swings. I'm gonna start out swinging kind of half speed. We're gonna go ahead and really turn those hands down, and I want you to hit kind of a low draw as you're hitting these shots. So I'm gonna let those hips open up. I'm covering that ball. It's gonna barely get off the ground. It's gonna draw every single time. So let's give that a whirl. There we go, nice low shot. I'm just making a half swing there, but I let my hips open. I got that forward shaft lean, and I hit that nice little draw. Go ahead and do that about 5 or 10 times to really get that feeling. Just like that, nice low draw. And then as you get comfortable with that, start to go a little farther and a little bit farther. Now I got an awesome bonus for you. It doesn't stop there. The next thing we need to work on is getting that club to shallow out in the downswing and really start to cover the club face as we start the downswing. If we wait all the way till the bottom, sometimes it's difficult to get that club face de-lofted enough and to cover the ball. I got a great bonus video called the tennis racket drill. I'm gonna play a preview of that here in a second. Just go ahead and click the card that pops up on your screen or down below in the description. You'll get instant access to that video, plus 5 bonus videos from our Top Speed Golf system. I can't wait to get started with you in a tennis racket drill. Let's go ahead and do it right now. Good player problems. We're going to talk about shallowing that club shaft out as we're starting down, as we're doing this rotating of the face that we worked on in the last video. As we start this downswing, what you'll see with basically all of the top players is instead of coming kind of over the top and letting the hands come out away from their body, letting the club come out away from their body, again coming down steep into the ball and then having to open up, kind of fillet open the face and add loft to it. The flattening of the shaft should happen as soon as we start down. So as we start this downswing, what we want to have happening here, you can imagine that if I draw a line from the hosel of my club up through my right elbow, that's my swing plane line, my elbow plane. As I go to the top of the swing, I'm going to be slightly above that. And then as I start down, I want my hands to start to shallow out. I want the club to shallow out inside of this elbow plane. And at the same time, I'm going to be rotating